Pull up a stump and listen close. Ever been deep in the woods, past where the roads end? That prickle on your neck like something's watching you? They call it the hide-behind. Always right behind you, never seen, only felt. The legend's as old as the logging camps of the Pacific Northwest. It's not about seeing the monster. It's about feeling seen. The hide-behind is pure stealth, a master of not being seen, which makes it all the more terrifying. Imagine being out there, miles from any town, with nothing but an axe and your wits. The woods alive with sounds, your mind playing tricks, or maybe not. The hide-behind is the name for that constant, unnerving presence just beyond your sight. Sometimes the most frightening things are the ones you never quite see, but always feel.
Things you only talk about at the back of the cave.
The hide-behind stories took root in the late 1800s, when logging boomed in the Pacific Northwest and Great Lakes. These were wild, untamed lands, where the forests seemed endless and the trees towered above like ancient guardians. Logging camps sprang up overnight, filled with men who worked hard, drank harder, and swapped stories to pass the long, lonely nights. Men vanished alone in the woods. No tracks, no struggle, just gone. The forest swallowed them whole, leaving behind only questions and a lingering sense of dread. The silence of the woods became heavy, as if something unseen was always watching. The old-timers would say, "The hide-behind got 'em." Around the fire, their voices would drop, and even the bravest men would glance over their shoulders, half expecting to see something lurking just beyond the firelight. It moved through brush without a sound, flattening itself behind even the thinnest sapling. No matter how sharp your eyes, you'd never catch a glimpse. The only protection? Alcohol. The hide-behind hated the smell, so loggers kept a flask handy. A swig of whiskey was more than a comfort, it was a shield, a talisman against the unknown. Some men claimed it was the only thing that kept them safe on those pitch-black nights. These tales became part of Fearsome Critters folklore, a collection of wild beasts lumberjacks invented. Most were funny, meant to lighten the mood and poke fun at newcomers. But the hide-behind was different, genuinely menacing. It was the one story that made even the toughest men uneasy, the one creature no one wanted to meet. It wasn't a critter to laugh about, but one to whisper about. The hide-behind was a secret passed from one generation of loggers to the next, a warning wrapped in a story. The hide-behind was the shadow that made you check over your shoulder before bed. It was the reason men hurried back to camp before dusk, and why no one ever wanted to be the last one out of the woods. It explained the unexplainable, and kept men wary in the wild. Every snap twig, every rustle in the underbrush became a reminder that something might be out there just out of sight. In a place where sense took a back seat to survival, the hide-behind was the only explanation that made sense. It was a way to make sense of the fear, to give a name to the darkness that pressed in from all sides. And so, the legend grew with every vanished logger and every dark night. The hide-behind became more than a story. It became a part of the forest itself, a shadow that lingers to this day. Nobody's ever seen a hide-behind and lived to tell it. From the stories, it's tall, impossibly thin, able to squeeze behind any tree. Always just out of view, a flicker in your peripheral vision. Its trick, the moment you look, it slips behind the nearest tree, no matter how small. You can chase it all day, but you'll never catch a glimpse. Some say it has wiry limbs, sharp claws for gripping bark, and mottled gray-brown skin like tree bark. The most unsettling detail, that cruel, wide grin glimpsed just before it strikes. Its prey humans, especially those alone in the woods. The stories say it devours intestines, leaving the rest behind, a gruesome detail that sets it apart from other boogeymen. The hide-behind isn't just a creature that scares you, it's a patient predator waiting in the shadows. It's the ultimate game of hide and seek, and it never loses. That's what makes it so terrifying. To truly understand the legend of the hide-behind, you first have to step into the world of the lumberjacks who invented it. These men were pioneers of the deep woods, carving out a living in the vast, untamed forests of the Pacific Northwest. Their days were long, their work was grueling, and their lives were shaped by the wild, unpredictable nature that surrounded them. These were tough, resilient men, living in isolated camps far from civilization. surrounded by constant danger and a thick atmosphere of superstition. The forest was both their livelihood and their greatest threat, filled with hazards both real and imagined. After exhausting days spent felling trees and hauling logs, they'd gather around crackling campfires at night, seeking warmth, comfort, and a sense of camaraderie. Here, in the flickering firelight, they spun tall tales and shared stories to pass the time and keep their spirits high. Their stories became a way to explain the strange and dangerous world around them, fearsome critters and mysterious monsters for every odd sound or shadowy movement in the woods. Each tale was a blend of humor, fear, and imagination, helping them make sense of the unknown. The Hidebehind fit perfectly into this world, a monster born from the ever-present fear of getting lost, separated, or snatched away by something lurking just out of sight. It was the embodiment of every unexplained rustle or snap of a twig in the darkness. The Hidebehind quickly became the boogeyman of the logging camps, a cautionary tale whispered to greenhorns and newcomers. It was a warning wrapped in a story, teaching the importance of vigilance and respect for the forest. The lesson was always clear: stick with the group, never wander off alone, and always keep your wits about you. In the wilderness, safety came from unity and looking out for one another. The older, more experienced loggers taught this lesson with a wink and a shiver, using the Hidebehind to keep everyone alert and ultimately safe. Their stories were both entertainment and education, passed down from one generation to the next. Storytelling was their way of bonding, coping with the isolation and making sense of the wild, unpredictable world they called home. Around the fire, fears became legends, and legends became lessons. The Hidebehind was more than just a monster. It was a survival lesson cleverly disguised as a scary story, a reminder that the forest demanded respect and caution at all times. In the deep woods, a good tale could do more than entertain. It could save your life, keeping you alert to the dangers that lurked in the shadows. And among all the stories told by the fire, the Hidebehind was the best tale of all, a story that still echoes through the forests to this day. Why invent a monster like the Hidebehind? It wasn't just for fun. Storytelling was the lumberjacks' entertainment, their way to break the monotony and build community. But these tales also helped them cope with real dangers: bears, cougars, getting lost, or freezing to death. The Hidebehind put a face on nameless dread, making fear manageable. It became a scapegoat for disappearances and accidents. The legend was a powerful cautionary tale. Don't go into the woods alone. Scaring greenhorns kept them safe, a form of social control and survival wisdom. And of course, it was a great excuse for pranks and hazing. If you could handle the stories, you belonged. The Hidebehind was as much a tool as an axe, a way to teach, warn, and laugh. In the end, it was a story that kept men alive. The Hidebehind is a perfect mix of fear and imagination, a creature that lives in the shadows of our minds as much as in the forests themselves. It's a legend that has haunted the Pacific Northwest for generations, whispered about in logging camps and around flickering campfires. In endless forests, every sound and shadow becomes suspicious. The creak of a branch, the rustle of leaves, or a fleeting movement just out of sight. Each one could be the Hidebehind, lurking just beyond your vision. The mind fills in the blanks. What you can't see, you invent. Alone in the woods, your imagination runs wild, turning ordinary darkness into something sinister and alive. The Hidebehind is the embodiment of that feeling. Being watched, never alone, always sensing that something is just out of sight, waiting for you to let your guard down. It's a primal fear, magnified in the wild, where the trees seem to close in, and the silence is broken only by your own heartbeat. But the stories weren't all terror. Lumberjacks added wild details, trying to outdo each other with every retelling. The Hidebehind became a creature of tall tales and laughter as much as fear. Some said it could stretch itself impossibly thin to hide behind the smallest tree, or vanish in the blink of an eye. Others claimed it was so fast you'd never see it move, only feel its presence. Maybe it runs backward as fast as forward, or laughs like a rusty saw echoing through the trees, sending chills down your spine. This collaborative storytelling made the legend vivid and real in their culture. Each new detail added to the myth, making the Hidebehind larger than life. American fearsome critter folklore is unique, practical, silly, and terrifying at once. These stories helped people cope with the dangers and loneliness of frontier life, The Hidebehind is the best example. A deadly monster, but also afraid of booze and outsmarted by clever loggers. It's a creature that's both a threat and a punchline. It's a blend of the serious and the absurd, born from the heart of the frontier where survival depended as much on humor as on caution. The Hidebehind is both a warning and a joke, a monster you can almost laugh at until you're alone in the woods and every shadow feels alive. That's what makes it unforgettable, a creature born from fear but kept alive by fun. The facts about the Hidebehind are as slippery as the creature itself. No evidence, just stories, collected by writers like William T. Cox in 1910. Cox's book, Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods, gave the Hidebehind a Latin name and cemented its legend. He wrote it preys on humans, can't be seen, and hates alcohol, a detail likely invented for laughs and excuses to drink. Another writer, Henry H. Tryon, helped spread the legend beyond the camps. These weren't scientists, but chroniclers of tall tales, preserving lumberjack folklore for future generations. The facts are just the most popular parts of the story, passed down and embellished. The essentials: a nocturnal predator, fast and stealthy, able to hide behind anything, hunting lone travelers, repelled by alcohol. Not scientific truth, but gospel in the world of folklore. The Hidebehind's legend is built on the power of a good story, and that's all the proof it needs. Is the Hidebehind real? Science says no. No evidence, no tracks, just stories. But folklore isn't about proof, it's about belief. For lumberjacks, the Hidebehind was real enough to shape their behavior and culture. It was a shared reality, a way to explain the unexplainable. Some true believers, cryptozoologists, still hunt for it, convinced the stories are based on something real. Maybe it's just a legend, maybe not. The beauty is, you can't disprove a creature whose whole trick is never being seen. The Hidebehind is a perfect logical loop, a monster defined by its absence. As long as there are dark woods, people will wonder, what if? The legend endures because it taps into something deep and universal. The Hidebehind is as real as the fear it inspires. The old logging camps are gone, but the Hidebehind lives on. From campfires to podcasts, it's a classic piece of American folklore. It connects us to a wilder past, when the world was full of unknowns. The Hidebehind endures because it embodies a timeless fear, the fear of the unseen. It's not about fangs and claws, but the anxiety of being watched by something you can't see. The story is a testament to American creativity and humor, a way to cope, teach, and build community. The Hidebehind is a folk villain, born from the heart of the frontier. In the end, it's more than a monster. It's the shadow on the edge of your vision, the noise in the night. Whether real or imagined, the Hidebehind is here to stay, forever lurking in the woods of our minds. And it will always be there, right behind you.